My girlfriend hates me because I'm not as rich as she thought I was after she worked so hard to baby trap me, and I'm starting to hate her back for making me lose my wife and kids. Posted by you/throwrareresentment32. I know I'm going to get a lot of criticism for the absurd age gap and the way our relationship started. I agree, and I deserve it, but I would really like some genuine advice beyond going to counseling. She won't agree, and I can't afford it anyway. I need tangible things that I can work on and introduce to help us move forward, whether as a couple or as effective co-parents. Long story short, my ex-wife and I, 42M, had been together since middle school. We have 4 daughters in their teens. I was a stay-at-home dad and part-time worker for most of my life until my youngest was in middle school. My ex agreed to invest in a passion project business of mine. I hired a receptionist, 25F, and we started an affair. She baby-trapped me. Now we're living together and have a young son. She resents me because she feels she was fooled. She saw me as a business owner with a nice car, nice clothes, and the ability to take her to nice places. She thought I was rich, so she got pregnant on purpose. She admitted it, this is not an assumption, hoping to use me to avoid working and to sponsor her family from overseas. In reality, my ex-wife and her family were the wealthy ones. None of our homes were in our names, we were renting from her parents, paying a nominal fee with the expectation that these homes would be left to my ex, and me, after their passing. This arrangement allowed my ex's salary, $150K, not huge in our high cost of living area, to stretch, and we lived a really good life. I left our marriage with half our savings, about $25K, my personal property, and my car. I lost my business due to a lack of funding and did not seek alimony. I resent my girlfriend because I feel I was fooled. I thought she loved me and couldn't believe the interest a young, attractive woman showed in me. She was incredibly persistent and pursued me strongly. But now that the ruse is over, I realize she has no feelings for me, no care or desire. I can't believe I gave up my entire life for what I now see as an ego trip. I truly loved my ex-wife and still do. But I had never been with another woman, and any attempts to open our relationship were shot down. This situation felt like a wet dream come true, and I was weak. Now, both my girlfriend and I are in a place we never imagined. She's living in a crappy apartment with an older man and still has to work. I've lost my kids, the love of my life, my family, my lifestyle, and my business, all 100% my fault. She stopped being intimate with me as soon as she found out I wasn't rich. I'm still with her because I feel like I need something to show for this disaster. At least I have a son and a partner, at least it wasn't all for nothing. Also, I don't trust her with our son. She would never agree to give me full custody, and I don't believe she's a good mother. I worry about his safety and the people she might bring around him. Honestly, I don't even know why she hasn't left me. What can I do to improve this situation? I know logically it would be best to break up and co-parent, but I'm afraid for my son, and I'm embarrassed for myself. Is there a way to salvage this situation? I'm considering suggesting an open relationship, letting her sleep with whoever she wants and go wherever she wants, as long as she continues living here so I can have my son full-time. I work from home. I'm not sure if that's the right answer, though. Update 8 days later. I had an affair, my ex-wife divorced me, and my kids absolutely refused to speak to me. I was an incredibly involved dad. For most of their lives, I worked 1 to 2 days a week and stayed home with them the rest of the time. I was closer to them than their mom, and I'd like to think I had never disappointed them before this. I made a mistake. It's been over 2 years since everything came out, and I haven't been able to make any headway. My eldest is hung up on the fact that I now have a young son. Every firstborn of each generation in my family has been a boy for a long time, and she broke the streak. I honestly could not care less about that. I've always thought that pressure was stupid, and I'm not a traditionally masculine guy who always wanted a boy. But she's so hurt that I have a son and is convinced that's all I've ever wanted, that he's replaced her and my daughters. None of that is true. All of my girls have said they don't consider themselves to have a brother and want nothing to do with him. All 4 of them feel betrayed and blame me for breaking up our family. I deserve the blame, it's my fault, and I take responsibility. But I can't change the past, and I don't know how I can begin making up for it. My ex has full custody of them, but I'm supposed to have visitation 1 weekend a month. They're all in therapy, and it was suggested not to enforce visitation and to respect their boundaries while they work through it. I've done that the entire time, and no progress has been made. Does anyone have any suggestions on what I can do here? My ex absolutely hates me but has always been supportive of the girls staying in contact with me. She's respected their wishes but still gives me updates once in a while. My eldest is turning 18 soon, graduating this coming year, and probably moving away for university. I feel like the time to make up with her, especially, is slipping away. I know I'm the crappy person here. I was a terrible husband, but I was honestly a really good dad, and I miss my girls. Has anyone been through something like this? How did it turn out? What are your suggestions? Second update 2 months later. Good news, my girlfriend and I have broken up. She has gone back to her home country and left my son with me. She refused to sign any formal custody agreement, so I'm hoping she stays there and doesn't bother us again. I'm pretty sure that if she comes back and demands time with him, I have a good case for maintaining custody. She's not even interested in FaceTiming with him so that he remembers her. I feel bad that my son will have to deal with a crappy, absent mother, but I hope I can get him into therapy as he grows. Bad news, I've tried my best to insist on visitation with my daughters, but that has fallen through. They absolutely refuse to see me. They wrote me a letter together, saying how much they hate me, how betrayed they feel, how they'll never forgive me, and how my son will never be their brother. They told me not to even bother telling him about them because they'll never be interested in knowing him, just to forget about them altogether and move on with my new family. I have no legal recourse. The youngest is 13 now, old enough to have a say in custody arrangements, and I don't think forcing them to see me would do me any favors in the long term anyway. They also included pictures of their mother's wedding. My ex has no obligation to tell me about her personal life, but I'm pretty pissed that there is a man living with my daughters whom I didn't know about. It is a family friend who has been in their lives for 10 plus years, so he's not a total stranger, but it still hurt to see pictures of their recent wedding and family photos with my daughters. They mentioned that they have a father figure and don't need me anyway. The whole thing really hurt. I know I have no right to feel hurt that my ex has moved on when I cheated on her. But their whole relationship has moved very fast, so I'm now wondering if they started it before we got divorced. There's no way to know now. It doesn't matter anyway. My ex agreed to keep me up to date and send pictures of my daughters once in a while. After dealing with my son's mom, I'm grateful that she is so good to our girls and that I don't have to worry about their well-being. I'm trying to focus on being a good dad to my son and patiently waiting for my girls to grow up and reach out. It may never happen, but I'm hopeful that they will understand me more as they become adults and gain context for life. Third update 3 years later. I have been away for several years. Most of you have heard my story, so I won't bore you with any of the details. I deleted my old account because I was too embarrassed to ever come back to it. I took the advice I was given. I left my daughters alone and have not heard from them since, which is understandable. I did finally get myself into therapy and realized what a gross piece of crap I was to the 5 most important people in the world to me at the time. In the end, I came to the conclusion that I needed to accept the fact that they were simply gone. 7 months after their final contact, I wrote my ex-wife an email saying that I did not want any further updates on their lives and that I would never contact any of them again. She agreed and stopped sending me emails shortly afterward. It was painful for a long while, and I thought I'd just punish myself forever. I agree with the general conclusion of the commenters that I was / am a narcissist, and in retrospect, I probably had no business being a father. I began to read books more often in an effort to gain perspective, in between taking care of my son and doing the best I could to make sure I appreciated how horrible I was, and probably still am. 5 months ago, one of the regulars at my place of business took an interest in me and asked me for my number. I was pretty wary for obvious reasons, but I agreed. Knowing how prone I am to being an utter trash can to everyone I care about, I was pretty upfront with her that I had cheated on my ex-wife and had no contact with my former family. I figured that would kill her interest, but surprisingly, it did not. She did end up interrogating me pretty harshly over it, which I let her do because I definitely needed to be dressed down over it by someone besides my therapist. So now, she and her 7-year-old daughter, she was widowed 3 years ago, are with me in their house with my son, and we seem to be tentatively forming a new family. I am very paranoid about something going wrong, so whenever I'm not working, I always go straight to their place or mine and ask her to come over. I like to think I have learned my lesson, but many people here said that cheaters usually relapse. I have had zero desire to do so, but can a person truly change like that? I hope so. I will not cheat on her, I know it. But my past haunts me when I think about it. If my son ever asks me how things came to be, I'll tell him the truth when he's old enough to understand. We may not be a family by blood, but the 4 of us are a family. And I will always be there for both of my kids. One thing that bothers me is how detached I feel from my previous family. I can honestly say I don't love any of my former daughters anymore, and they obviously don't love me. And that's fine. I feel completely at peace with it. My son, his new sibling, and his new mother are my second chance, and I have embraced it. But what does that say about me? I spent 16 years with them, and in less than 3, I have been able to completely emotionally detach from them. I have made it a point not to use social media so they can't see my new life, and my girlfriend shares my disdain for it. But aside from that, our existences do not affect one another anymore. They have a new father and role model, and I have a new family. It is done. That is all I have to say, Reddit. Now feel free to tell me to F off, since I deserve it. Op in the comments. Why would I ever love my daughters? What I did was so unforgivable that it eradicated any love that once existed between us. There's no point in attempting to bring that back. Do you expect me to self-flagellate for the rest of my life? My former daughters asked me to forget about them and move on, and I did. I learned a lot of hard lessons, but none of those lessons ended with the conclusion, reach out to them. They have a father and are better off without me, and I'm happy without them. I'm not American. Don't project America onto the rest of the world. Just because people don't know how to act in that dystopian craphole you call a country doesn't mean the rest of the world is at your level. Reddit just loves perpetual punishment, doesn't it? I deserve the consequences for destroying my family. Spent several years in therapy reflecting on that, and only entered a new relationship once I felt I had learned and grown from my horrible transgressions. Also, F you. My girlfriend believes in second chances because she almost drank herself to death after her husband died. Both of us have done awful things, but we make each other better and have provided a good life for our kids.